Everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Lauren. Welcome. I hope that you choose to stick around. I think it will be really cool if you do. So I think the title of this video, it's pretty self-explanatory. Today I'll be talking about 21 things I've learned in the 21 years that I've been alive. So yeah, I wrote it down. I made a list of these things. I think most of them I learned over the years. And I think it's important to reflect and also to share things that we've learned. I hope you enjoy this video and let me know what you think. And don't forget to do the different things to, I've watched quite a few of these videos and I find them pretty insightful, and I always write something down from something that someone else has learned. I think it's so important to learn from other people. We never stop growing, and I think it's actually ignorant to think that you do, because even when you're in your old age, you can still be learning, and you can learn from someone so small and so young. And yeah, okay, so let's get into it. Number 1, always be kinder than necessary. I think we all know that kindness costs nothing and it can brighten someone's day. It doesn't take a lot to be kind. There's so many ways to be kind, and like if you don't do something kind for someone else, if their day is going badly, the rest of their day could be bad. But I remember when I was small, I used to smile at people, and then like older people, and then they would smile back at me. They would go from their frown to their smile, and I'm sure that reminded them that there is beauty if we look around and don't focus on the negative. Okay, number 2, stay humble. Yeah, we go through phases in life, and as I've grown older, I've realized that staying humble, it helps one stay grounded. And I think a lot of people misunderstand being humble. At least to me, it's taken me a long time to realize that you can be confident and still be humble. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. So I think that is very important. Knowing that you're not better than anybody else, knowing that things that you have in your life do not define you. Something that I learned is go to church. I think going to church is important because it gives you that, you start off your Monday on a high note, knowing that it's important to prioritize God and give God that time. I think it's also important for young children to go to church because to share the truth with young individuals that the key to happiness is not money and fame and all of this stuff. In the Bible it says, I give you the peace that only I can give you. So another thing that I learned is listen to advice. People who have already experienced things can really help you, and that's something that I think we all go through that phase, especially in our teenage years, where we're like, I don't want to listen to anybody. I know everything, so but yeah, as I've grown up, wow, I really appreciate learning from people, and not just anybody, people who care. There's a difference between people who care and people who just want to throw their 2 cents in, or people who have hidden agendas. Sometimes people, they pretend that they want looking out for you, but they're actually looking out for themselves. Listen to advice from people who genuinely care about you. There's a quote from Dr. Seuss. It says, "Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter." So that's a pretty cool one. Yeah. Okay, the next one. Don't take yourself too seriously. This one is super important. If you do take yourself too seriously, you can actually kill your spirit. That nowadays you can make media a career. So people are very careful about how they portray themselves. It's important to think about what you put out there, but not to be too hard on yourself. You know, you see a lot of videos online where people are like, "I've held it together for so long, but I've actually been sad," and all of that stuff. You need to be able to go through the motions. If you're in a jokey mood, tell a joke, you know, and it doesn't matter if you're a professional and you work in a serious job or something. Like, even when you're 60 years old, you're still gonna, you know, find things funny, and you're still gonna want to have a laugh. And you know, just because you have a serious job, it doesn't mean that you're not a real person all of a sudden. So just be who you are, and then let what comes from that come from it, you know. Let whatever's supposed to happen happen. And that way you know that you are always being yourself, and you never have to feel like, "Ooh, that wasn't really me." Okay, now this one is important. To take care of the people you love. You can't be treating the people you love badly, because they're the ones that are there for you, you know. Especially when we are young, we invest our time like in people that don't really care about us. This happens, you know. I think it's something that's happened to all of us somewhere along the line, and the people that really do care for us and love us, we tend to neglect them sometimes. Yeah, but it's really, really important. There's a song. Let me see if I can get the lyrics. "You can only go for so long, doing the one you claim to love wrong. Until too much is enough, you look up, find your love gone." And yeah, that's a nice song. Sometimes times will be very tough, but it will pass, and you know, life goes on. It really does. Like, all the moments in our past where we thought, "Oh, how am I going to get through tomorrow? How am I going to deal with tomorrow?" We do. And then years pass, or a week passes, and we start to feel better, you know. So, yeah. It's not the end of the world until it really is the end of the world. And you know, there's a light in the sky. Oh, you know what I mean. So the next one is, don't let fear stop you from doing something. This one is really important. Wow, because fear can get in the way. I think we've all experienced this. Fear can really get in the way of happiness, of trying new things. I remember the one time when I was with my friend, I had never been on a longboard before. This was like maybe 3 years ago or something. And then she just told me, "Come on, you can do it." And then I didn't even, you know, entertain negative thoughts. It was really unlike myself. Because with something like that, you know, you're gonna fall. So, but I wasn't afraid to fall, because luckily my friend was such a little wild child, you know, that wasn't afraid to fall, and she had lots of cuts on her and stuff like that because of longboarding. But I got on the longboard, and kaboom! Sooner or later I was doing it with her, and we were longboarding down the street, and it was so fun, and it felt amazing to do it. Like, I was even going at a speed at some point, not super fast, but it was pretty awesome. And that's an example of when I didn't let fear get in my way. There's another quote that I'll post here from a Cinderella story. Don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. If you haven't watched that movie, you should. Forgive yourself is another thing that I've learned. I think this is important because You know, in life we will make mistakes. I think it sort of ties in with not taking yourself too seriously. We will never be perfect in this life. And from a Christian perspective, we will make mistakes and we will sin. You know, Jesus already died for our sins. He died because we would sin, you know. So when he said it was finished on the cross, it was finished. And that doesn't mean that we can just like whatever we want in this life. I think it's important to live and learn and know that not everyone is perfect, and that is okay, and that we'll never be perfect. I've learned to forgive myself for things like bad decisions or wow. Whoa, there was just a bird and it was right here, and it was just so, it felt like it was gonna come at me, but it's not even, it can't get it yet. But anyway. The next one is forgive other people. I think this is very important. People will hurt us. Yeah. If you don't forgive and you just hate people, bitterness will grow in your heart. You know, you'll just get bitter, and then as you go about your life, you'll focus on the negative and not the positive. When bitterness is in your heart, it just spreads and spreads and spreads, and then you're rude to other people, you know, things like that. So we actually have to forgive, because forgiving other people actually sets us free from the pain that they caused us. That is actually easier said than done. But it's something that I've also learned. You know, when you resent someone for something that they've done to you, it actually keeps them in your life. And if you don't want someone in your life, you forgive them, you know. It's not always that easy. Something that I've also learned on this note is that forgiving someone doesn't mean that you have to keep them in your life. You can forgive someone and, you know, not have them in your life anymore. And there is a wallpaper that I learned this from. The one is look on the bright side in life. This one is really important. It's so important to stay positive, because the thing is, you can always look on the bright side or look on the negative side. You choose. It's up to you. But the thing is, the way we choose to see something, it really determines the effect it has on us, you know, and the way that our day is. And yeah, so we can choose to see positive, because there is beauty everywhere. Improve yourself constantly. I think this is a very important one, because when you are just complacent about, okay, I achieved this, so now the birds so now, oh, I achieved this, so now I don't have to do anything else in my life because I've reached this pinnacle, I'm made prom queen, or I don't know. You know, that's when things can be going well for a short period of time, but sooner or later you're going to find that you are frustrated with yourself because everyone else is progressing and you've chosen not to, you know. Or if you're in the working world but you feel like nothing really new is happening for you, find something new that you enjoy to do. Finding a new hobby, going to a new class like dancing or something, studying something new, meeting new people, but always improve yourself. So the next one is step out of your comfort zone. So this is something that's really important, and it's not easy to do. While I've been on YouTube, you know, I've come across so many small accounts, and I really think it's really awesome that so many people are actually like, let me do something that isn't necessarily the most comfortable thing to do, to start a channel. And I think that's also what I want to do. I want to do something that you know, I've wanted to do a lot for a long time, but it wasn't necessarily comfortable to do. So yeah, I think it's really important for us to do things that we've always wanted to do, but that force us to really, you know, feel a bit shaky. That's actually how we grow. Yeah. Okay, the next one is have empathy for others. I think this is such an important one because when we have empathy for other people, I think it can cause arguments to end, or it can prevent them in the first place. It can really just make us take a step back and think, what is that other person going through? Let me put myself in their shoes so that I can see where they're coming from. And when someone else can see that you are trying to see where they're coming from, people also tend to have empathy towards you because they can see that you are having empathy towards them, that you are taking interest in how they feel, And we all want to feel like our thoughts and stuff are important, So when someone is talking to you, or listen to them, and if they don't show empathy towards you, don't get frustrated and stuff, just take a step back, because we're allowed to take a step back from a situation. But when you feel that you are ready, talk to them and stuff. Instead of saying something rude, rather take a step back first. But yeah, empathy, wow, it really can cause beautiful things in relationships. The next one is pray and read the Bible. So I think this one is something that I've learned. I've kind of always known it since I was small. I was taught in Sunday school about this, but yeah, when you are a child, you are being taught about God from other humans who are not perfect. So sometimes they don't really hit the nail on the head, with things. And I remember those Bible stories never felt real to me. It just felt like a story. Like I knew Jesus was real, but I think I thought all those stories were made up from the Bible, Yeah, so I think it's important to read the Bible because it's really what fuels us, because God's word really, like, people like to say, oh, no one's ever written a book about how to live life, but actually there is a book about how to live life, and that's the Bible. It teaches us about how to do everything. In Corinthians, it teaches us how to love. There are so many verses that are so valuable and that can help us in life. So I'm so glad that I finally learned that. This one is, if it's meant to be, it will be. Sometimes, we really want something a lot, but it's not working out. But sometimes it means that it's not meant for you. And I mean, people say this a lot, but to actually understand it, I think it's not as easy. It's taken me a long time to understand that. I think I've known it for quite some time now, but sometimes we also can forget something, and I have to remind myself that, and that God has a plan for my life. I don't know all the answers, and if you're gonna pray, you shouldn't be praying for what you want. You should pray that God brings you happiness or peace or something that you need, not I want to get this award, or I want this person to come to be my friend. I don't know. But that's what I've learned. Another one is, don't depend on other people for happiness. Wow, this is an important one. It's something that I've learned in life. This can happen. Then we want to blame our frustration on other people, like, why didn't you do this to me? If someone in your family or your friends or your partner's not being like 100% at some point, or if they're having a tough day, you're like, this is why I'm upset, like, this is why I'm unhappy, because you're doing this. And this one you have to remind yourself, I have to remind myself this as well, that everybody is going through something, your family members, your friends, your partner. So we can't depend on other people for happiness. No one will ever be able to fulfill us completely, or meet our standards, or be perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. You get the imperfect perfect, and that's beautiful, but you have to understand that no one is ever perfect. Expecting other people to be perfect and relying on other people to make you happy can really lead to a lot of disappointment, anger, resentment, all of these things, And that leads on to the next one. Don't expect too much from other people. Um, yeah, just because you are willing to do something for someone else doesn't mean that they are willing to do it for you. And sometimes people have unrealistic expectations on other people. Wow, I think I've learned this. I don't know if I would say the hard way, but yeah, I went through, I had to learn this, I guess, the hard way. That sometimes people will expect you to do something, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need to do it, because sometimes people, like, you expect that someone that wants you to do something, or is saying something, you expect that they're being genuine with you or something, but sometimes people are not. You can't look for yourself in other people. Just because you will do something that way, you can't think that everybody is just like you. And I think that is something that's so important to understand. Wow, when there were times where I didn't really understand that, I felt that I was misled by people, because you think that because you are going to be genuine with someone else, surely other people are genuine, or surely someone isn't going to be like selfish, or someone isn't going to be rude and all of this stuff. But yeah, it's a very important one. The next one ties in with it completely. True colors show for a reason. So when someone shows their true colors, they're showing it because it's who they are. So don't try to think, oh wow, look at their true colors, but they're not actually this way because I know who they are. Don't say that, because there's good in everybody and we can choose to see the good in everyone, and it's important to also look for good qualities in people, but that can also lead you down the wrong path. And I think as a young person, even as someone who's grown, that's important to remember, that people do reveal who they are. You choose to see it or not to see it. Sometimes we choose to give people the benefit of the doubt. We say, I've seen the good parts in someone or something, but sometimes we just have to accept things for the way they are. Some people will be difficult in life. Not everyone's going to be your friend. Not everyone's going to want the best for you. Not everyone's advice will be genuine advice. And that is something that, wow, yeah, being able to discern someone that wants the best for you versus someone who doesn't, that is something very important. Wow, this is extremely important. It's taken me a long time. We learn this, but sometimes it's not until someone spells it out and summarizes it that we can actually take it in and go, wow, I wish someone told me this long ago. So not everyone has to like you in order for you to be happy, or just because someone makes something difficult for you at school or at work, it doesn't mean that you're worth any less. It doesn't mean that, someone else's inability to see your value doesn't decrease your value. I don't know who wrote that. I think that is so beautiful. Wow, that is such a stunning thing, because it's so important, because sometimes that's what gets people down, and it's gotten me down in my life at times, when people don't treat you the way that you are supposed to be treated, or you expected more from someone else and you think, why is this not going as I planned? Yeah, and just because someone perceives you to be one way, or someone says that you are one way, it doesn't mean that you are that way. So anyway, I hope that you learned something new, or I hope that you could take something from this it actually was good for me to, it also reminded me of things that I need to remember again. Last but not least, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, stay tuned for more. So if you enjoyed this video, I hope that you stick around. It would be lovely to hear from you in the comments. Yeah, so if you really liked it, hit the notification bell, because it will be nice to have you around all the time and you don't need to forget and you just get that notification. So okay,